You know, there's been a lot of chatter lately about the Lakers and their approach to roster building, especially with all this talk about buyouts. People are throwing around phrases like buyout desperation, or all they do is pick up buyout players. And honestly, I don't really get where all this negativity is coming from. Like, why does it even matter where the talent comes from? At the end of the day, the Lakers needed to fill certain gaps, particularly at center. And if the best way to do that is by signing a buyout player rather than giving up valuable assets in a trade, then isn't that the smarter move? It's a question of efficiency and strategy. If you can get a quality center who fits your system and your timeline through a buyout, saving those draft picks and future trade assets for other moves, why wouldn't you do it? There's this misconception of buyouts are somehow less legitimate than trades. Like if the Lakers trade for a player, suddenly that player is valued more, and the narrative changes to look at the smart front office moves. But if the same player arrives via buyout, some fans instantly label him a risk or a liability, as if the path to the roster alters the player's worth. It's wild. The truth is, a buyout signing and a trade acquisition are just two different routes to the same destination. What really matters is how that player performs once on the court and how well he fits the team's needs. Take DeAndre Ayton, for example. If the Lakers had traded for him, the conversation around his arrival would be totally different. People would be hyped, praising the front office for snagging a top-tier center. But since he was signed via buyout, there's this unfair skepticism about his character and effort. Sure, there's some context there. Portland's situation, Ayton's unwillingness to fit in, all that. But his ability as a player remains undeniable. He's a solid 17-10 guy, a top 10 center in the league by most metrics. So why does it matter if he came through a buyout rather than a trade? The Lakers have the same player on their roster either way. The reality is that the Lakers' front office is incredibly limited in assets right now. They don't have the luxury of trading multiple first-round picks or promising young players just to fill holes. Their priority has to be maximizing value on flexibility. Signing players via buyout means they can hold on to those assets and remain patient, waiting for the perfect opportunity to make a meaningful trade. Patience can be a virtue in this business, especially when it actually leads to landing players. Like Luka Doncic and DeAndre Ayton without giving up anything of real value. Imagine if some other team, not the Lakers, had landed both those stars within a 6-month window. Fans everywhere, including Lakers fans, would be in awe. But because the Lakers did it via buyout and free agency rather than flashy trades, the excitement doesn't feel the same. And that's just a narrative problem, not a basketball one. People also tend to overlook what buyouts represent in the broader NBA ecosystem. Players get bought out for tons of reasons. Sometimes because they don't fit a young team's timeline, sometimes due to roster congestion, or because a player wants to find a contender. Charlotte buying out Joshua Okogie, for example, was about them developing younger talent rather than giving him playing time. That doesn't mean Okogie isn't a valuable player, just that the situation didn't line up. The same goes for Bradley Beal's buyout. It's not about his talent declining, it's about roster fit and team direction. Teams are constantly adjusting their rosters to position themselves for success, and buyouts are a natural part of that process. And here's the key, free agency is exactly what it sounds like. It's about players being free to sign with teams that make the most sense for them and their careers. Whether a player hits the market through a buyout or their original contract expiring doesn't change their status as a free agent. So if a guy like Bradley Beal becomes available via buyout, why wouldn't the Lakers jump at the chance to sign him for less money and without giving up assets? It's just smart business. Now, some critics say the Lakers aren't making enough trades or that Rob Pelinka is being too passive. But if the team can fill all their needs through savvy buyout signings and free agency, why rush into a trade that costs valuable pieces? A bad trade can set a franchise back years, and patience can be the difference between a championship run and a rebuild. There's a reason that when a good trade happens, fans celebrate. But patience in building the roster through other avenues should get just as much respect. Let's imagine a scenario. What if the Lakers landed Jake LaRavia, DeAndre Ayton, Joshua Okogie, Bradley Beal, and Nikola Vucevic all in one offseason? If those players came through trades, the entire NBA world would be buzzing about how the Lakers just flipped the league on its head. But if those same players arrive via buyouts and minimum contracts, suddenly it's seen as less impressive or even questioned. It's absurd. The end result is what counts. Think about it like this. If you're hungry and want a hot dog and you can buy one for $2, or your brother offers you one for free, are you going to pay the $2? Of course not. You take the free hot dog. That's just common sense. And then with the money you saved, you can go buy another hot dog or something else you want later. Why would you pay for something you can get for free, especially if the quality is equal or better? It's the same principle with the Lakers and buyouts. Why trade away draft picks and young talent when you can get a better player on a buyout deal? The Lakers have shown that they're focused on smart roster construction, leveraging every tool available. It doesn't matter if a player comes via buyout or trade as long as they fit the plan and can contribute. The flexibility to sign players on buyouts allows them to stay patient and make more calculated moves at the trade deadline or in future off seasons. Winning a championship is the ultimate goal, and the path to get there shouldn't be scrutinized, as long as it leads to success. So at the end of the day, I just don't buy into this idea that buyouts are a lesser way to build a championship contender. It's about maximizing assets, being patient, and making smart decisions. The Lakers front office has shown it knows what it's doing, even if it doesn't always make the loudest or flashiest moves. If they can solve their needs through buyouts and then top off the roster with strategic trades or signings, that's a recipe for long-term success. And honestly, if the Lakers come out of this season as a top seed with a roster full of guys who fit and contribute, does it really matter how they got there? No one's gonna care if they didn't give up a first-round pick for that center or signed a wing off a buyout instead of trading for him. What matters is winning. The rest is just noise. Building on what we were saying before, I think one of the biggest misunderstandings when it comes to the Lakers' approach is how people often confuse impatience with intelligence. Just because a trade doesn't happen immediately doesn't mean the front office isn't working hard or being strategic. Sometimes the smartest thing to do is to wait. The NBA is a long season, and there are always opportunities to improve as you learn more about your team's strengths and weaknesses. Jumping into trades early, just for the sake of making a splash, can be reckless, especially when you're dealing with limited assets. We've seen that over the years with teams that rush to make moves and then regret it because they gave up too much or disrupted chemistry. The Lakers have to be mindful of that history, especially after what happened with some previous trades that didn't quite pan out as hoped. That's why I respect the patience we're seeing now. Rob Pelinka and the front office are playing the long game. They're not just trying to put a band-aid on the roster. They're trying to build a championship caliber team that can compete for multiple years. When you think about it, buyouts and free agency have become such powerful tools in today's NBA. The buyout market especially has created a unique window for teams that might not have the salary cap space or trade assets to pull off blockbuster deals but still want to upgrade their roster. Players who get bought out often have plenty to offer. They're just looking for a better fit or a chance to compete for a title. For the Lakers, who have that allure, the buyout market is a gold mine. It's also important to remember that buyouts often happen because teams want to rebuild or prioritize younger players. So when a veteran gets bought out, it's not a knock on their ability. It's more about fit and timing. Take a guy like Al Horford. He's been bought out before and still remains a valuable player who can bring leadership, defense, and shooting. If the Lakers bring someone like him in on a buyout deal, it doesn't mean they got a lesser version of Horford. It means they found a smart way to add quality without giving up assets or getting stuck with a huge contract. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on. In what could become one of the most stunning moves of the NBA offseason, whispers are growing louder about a potential bombshell involving Devin Booker. The Phoenix Suns star guard, long seen as the face of the franchise, is now being linked to none other than the Los Angeles Lakers, and the rumor mill is spinning out of control. Sources close to the situation have hinted at internal unrest in Phoenix following another disappointing playoff run. Though no official statements have been made, league insiders suggest Booker might be quietly exploring new horizons. The Lakers, always on the lookout for a high-profile addition to complement LeBron James and Anthony Davis, are reportedly monitoring the situation very closely. What adds fuel to the speculation is Booker's known ties to Los Angeles. He has often been spotted in the city during the offseason, and his relationship with Lakers star LeBron James, who has publicly praised him in the past, is no secret. With the Lakers aiming to maximize their championship window as LeBron nears the twilight of his legendary career, bringing in a dynamic scorer like Booker could be the perfect spark. Behind the scenes, there are whispers that Rob Pelinka and the Lakers front office have already floated hypothetical trade scenarios to gauge feasibility. Although acquiring Booker would undoubtedly require a blockbuster deal, likely involving a combination of young talent and future draft picks, the Lakers have shown time and again that they're willing to push all their chips in for a star caliber name. From a basketball standpoint, Booker's scoring prowess and shot-creating ability would fit seamlessly alongside Davis's interior dominance and LeBron's playmaking. A big three featuring that trio would instantly position the Lakers as favorites in the Western Conference, if not the entire league. Of course, for now, it remains a tantalizing possibility. There's no official confirmation, no trade. Demand, no press conference, just a growing sense that something is shifting behind the curtains. But in the world of NBA rumors where smoke often leads to fire, the idea of Devin Booker donning purple and gold might not be as far-fetched as it once seemed. One thing is certain, the Lakers fan base is buzzing and the NBA world is watching. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.